Communication. It's how we all talk, express ourselves, and speak to each other. It's essential to human life. But did you know that cells also communicate?
What? How does something that small communicate?
Good question. It starts with signals sent to cells that cause a reaction. There are many different types of cellular communication, just as there are many different ways to talk to other people. I'll go into the main 3 types. Let's start. The first type is called juxtan. This type of communication refers to cells that are right next to each other. Think about 2 people talking. The second type is called paracrine. This type of communication involves nearby cells, not ones right next to each other. An example of this could be 2 people across the street talking to each other. The final type is called endocrine. When a cell is performing endocrine communication, it means that the 2 communicating cells are far away and are sending signals through the bloodstream to get messages through. This is similar to sending mail to someone.
Now, let's look at real cell models, or as real as we can get.
Before we start, let's make sure we know what everything is. These pink pom-poms will represent the chemical signals sent by other cells. The different color felt cells will represent the signaling cells. This yellow cell will represent the target cells. Once again, let's start with juxtin. As we mentioned before, this form of cellular communication occurs when the adjacent cells next to each other send signals. This form of communication between cells is significant as it allows them to send signals quickly because they're so close to each other. A cell could send signals to tell it to stop growing and duplicating, and if a cell gets these signals, it reacts to them and stops growing. However, it's possible that despite these signals, the cell keeps growing, leading to a large amount of numbers of cells that lead to cancerous tumors. Next up is paracrine. As mentioned previously, this form of cellular communication is when nearby cells send signals to each other. These signals relate to neurons found within your brain and are also known as neurotransmitters. They control mood swings, sleep, appetite, energy, and even movement. These signals also help keep the body in balance through homeostasis. This is done by telling cells to either stop producing a specific hormone, which is something we'll get into during endocrine signaling. And finally, endocrine communication. As we know, this involves cells that are communicating far away through the bloodstream. This cell of communication is used for releasing hormones in the body. These types of hormones carry messages that impact the behavior of their target cells. For example, adrenaline is released through endocrine signals to be given to specific cells. But despite the minor and major differences of these processes, all 3 forms of communication, juxtin, paracine, and endocrine, serve to keep our bodies running.